Trump criticizes South Africa's expropriation policy amid ongoing debate on land reform. This week marked a pivotal moment in South Africa's contentious land reform saga. Amidst growing domestic turmoil and global scrutiny, President Donald Trump took to social media to express his disapproval of the South African government's latest moves under the Expropriation Act. His comments underscore the international concern over policies that target private property without compensation, particularly highlighting the perceived unfair treatment of specific groups. President Cyril Ramaphosa first announced the ANC's intention to amend the Constitution in 2018 to allow for land expropriation without compensation. However, despite repeated efforts, the ANC has been unable to secure the necessary two-thirds majority in Parliament, thanks in part to the Economic Freedom Fighters, EFF, demanding broader measures that would include full state custodianship of expropriated properties. Despite this setback, the expropriation bill was signed into law by President Ramaphosa in 2025 after being introduced in October 2020. This act permits the government, through any state organ or department, to expropriate private property with nil compensation, interpreted by the government as meaning no compensation. Both domestic and international legal experts have hotly debated this terminology, with significant disagreements emerging over the interpretation and implementation of the law. Deputy President Paul Mashatile reaffirmed the government's commitment to this approach in 2024, stating that the law's wording might differ, but the intent to expropriate without compensation remains unchanged. This stance was mirrored in President Ramaphosa's address at the ANC Manifesto Review Rally in 2023, where he reiterated that the state could expropriate land for public purposes without compensation, deemed just and equitable by the law. These developments have drawn sharp criticism, not just from international leaders like Trump, but also from local rights groups such as AfriForum. These critics argue that the ANC's policy mirrors failed land reforms in other regions, notably Zimbabwe under Robert Mugabe, whose policies led to severe economic downfall and international isolation. Trump's criticism marks a rare instance of a Western leader directly intervening in South African domestic policy. This has sparked considerable backlash from certain segments of the South African media and political landscape, accusing the U.S. president of misunderstanding or misrepresenting the facts to serve foreign interests. Meanwhile, AfriForum and other property rights advocates have leveraged this international spotlight to rally support and stiffen resistance against the Expropriation Act. In summary, as South Africa continues down this path of controversial land reforms, the domestic debate intensifies, caught between the imperatives of historical redress and the realities of economic and legal consequences. The international community's eyes remain fixed on South Africa, waiting to see how this bold but divisive policy will play out on the world stage. Thank you for choosing Satori News.